You're thinking about making the move to Cleveland, Ohio, or you're from Cleveland and you're a first-time homebuyer. Well, in today's video, we're going to look at the best 5 neighborhoods for first-time homebuyers, depending on lifestyle, amenities, what it has to offer, and what's going to not break the bank and allow you to live comfortably without being house poor per se. So in this video, we're really going to discuss the best 5 cities, making sure that you have an understanding of the pros and some of those cons that come with it and why they're good for first-time homebuyers. And we're really exploring the city too. We're not just staying in Cleveland, so stay tuned. Let me know what you think. Let's jump into the video, and please share this video with anyone else that you may know that is just starting their search in real estate and could help, because I'd be happy to discuss further and really understand what their personal goals are as well as yours to make sure that we're getting you into the best city possible. But let's jump into this video about the best 5 cities for first-time homebuyers, why, and some of the cons that come with them. So here we go. If you're new to the channel and you want to know all there is about living in Cleveland, Ohio, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we upload a new video and stay current on all things Cleveland. My name is Kip Sweeney with Living Cleveland, Ohio, powered by Mancuso Homes, eXp Realty, and we get calls from people just like yourself looking to move in 9 days or 9 months. Whatever that is, we're here to help make sure that you have a smooth transition into your dream house here in Cleveland, Ohio. My contact information is in the description box below, so make sure to send me a text, give me a call, schedule a time to meet, or if you're local, please, let's go ahead and meet face-to-face in person and grab a cup of coffee, some lunch, or whatever that may be. I would love to talk to you and just discuss your personal real estate goals. But otherwise, let's jump into the video and let's talk about the best neighborhoods for first-time homebuyers. All right, stay tuned and let me know which one you think is the best for you. So here we go. All right, number 1 on our list is gonna be Fairview Park, Ohio. So Fairview Park, the median price as of April 2025 in the city is going to be $290,000. Now, there's different areas within Fairview Park where you're gonna have some bigger homes, you're gonna have some smaller homes. So obviously, those are gonna average out, and to really kind of help that price kind of adjust. So don't take that as, this is what we're gonna get it obviously for, this is the average. However, this is a 12% increase from last year, which is pretty crazy. So the big thing to note here is getting into Fairview Park is going to be beneficial for the long term. You're gonna see the prices of those homes and continue to appreciate and continue to rise, which is going to be great for a new home buyer. You're going to want to see that house continue to build and that price just continue to go up and your home to appreciate, right? No one wants it to go down or depreciate. That's never a great thing. Fairview Park is surrounded by a rocky river, and it's also really close to Lakewood, as well as Cam's Corner, which is kind of be Cleveland. But Cam's Corner hosts Cleveland Clinic, which is going to be a big hospital. So it really drives a lot of healthcare workers, and it brings a lot of doctors into the area. So a lot of them do actually live within Fairview Park, right? So Fairview Park is going to offer quite a bit for first-time homebuyers, but also for people looking to build a family. The schools are always going to be rated pretty well. It's always going to get a B or A grade and higher, right? And this is going to be something you can check out on greatschools.org or niche.com and really do that research yourself. But the schools are going to be something that you can trust, which is always going to be a nice thing. And what's also great about Fairview Park is just the layout. You're going to be able to get to pretty much either freeway, whether that's 480 or 90. And I know if you're out of town, you may not know what that means, but those are going to be the 2 main freeways that you're pretty much going to take anywhere you go that's not going to be driving 10, 15, 20 minutes away, depending on where you're going. But those are going to be your 2 main freeways, which are very close by and very easy to get to from Fairview Park. You're never going to be stuck with one or the other, which is great. Along with this, you have your shopping. We have Westgate Mall, which is going to be a big place for Target, for a gym. They have a Planet Fitness, for restaurants, for books. Even if you want to go, they have a bookstore. I can't remember the name of it exactly. There's probably only one, honestly, maybe 2 that still are even in business, like the big ones. So Westgate Mall really has it all, but along with that, you're gonna also have a lot of family-oriented things to do, whether that's going to the parks, going to Vulcan. That's going to be like a bunch of different baseball fields where a lot of us used to play when we were growing up. But along with families, there's CYA basketball, so for kids that wanna participate there, or of course, if you want to just go to your neighboring city and play with friends at local basketball courts or parks, you have that ability as well because of how close Rocky River is. I grew up in Fairview Park, so I'm a little biased towards this. We used to bike around town pretty much every day going to different places. We'd get on the sidewalks, we'd walk, whatever it may be, we'd bike and meet up with each other. For me, it was flip phones, so I was able to still send texts and kind of get in touch with my friends, but we always met up at Target or something like that. Very family oriented now, which is great. When I was growing up, it was a little bit of an older generation, which is, it was fine, but my street consisted of, I think, 3 families with children, so not as many friends there, but a lot of friends around town. And now, when I go back and visit my parents who are still there, there's multiple families in the neighborhood. People are walking their dog consistently, and they're taking their children for bike rides. It's really great. You see them biking around and walking consistently and constantly. People are just out and about, which is really cool. And you have about 20,000 residents. And so it's a pretty tight-knit community, which is great as well. People really watch out for one another. They kind of know each other, and it's pretty beneficial just knowing that your house is going to be okay, knowing that your neighbor is always looking out or somebody else is always looking out, and you always have someone that will know something that's going on in Fairview Park, because they do have tons of events and tons of things to do as well. But again, I will put that as somewhat of a con if you wanted to look at it that way. Some people don't want nosy neighbors and don't want those people or everyone knowing who they are. So there is that aspect as well, but of course you can keep to yourself if that is the case. Now, developments. So Fairview Park is committed to growing into improvements and redevelopment. And so they have a major project. It's about $45 million, and it's going to redevelop 2 of the NASA historic buildings that are in the area. It's in the southern end, but this is going to bring boutique hotel, apartments, retail space. It's really a mixed use space. But this is really, really important because part of their con is the high taxes. The high taxes are really because there's only the schools, some shopping, but nothing too crazy, right? There is that Target, but they're not gonna hold, everything. There's some shopping mall, but it's not gonna be enough. So the taxes really go to the schools, the infrastructure, and that's kind of partially why the taxes are a little higher for Fairview Park. So this development, bringing more business to the area, is going to be great and hopefully help that from not, getting out of hand or anything of that nature. It's nothing crazy, but it's going to be a little higher than some of the neighboring cities because of the fact that a lot of it is school-based, infrastructure-based, and you don't have as many businesses in the area as some of the neighboring cities. Once again, one of the charms to Fairview Park is just that it's continuously, being developed and it's ongoing, but a lot of this development is through family-owned businesses and family-owned restaurants and things like that. It's a really locally owned type of area. We do have some of the fast food chains, of course, but again, like I said, some of this stuff really is bordering Fairview Park and Rocky River, so we don't have all the businesses to take some of that tax. But these projects are here, people are here, and one of the negatives for it is that people want to be here in Fairview Park. So the inventory is not only low, but it also goes pretty quickly. Things don't stay on the market too long unless they're just truly out, priced out of the market and out of condition and not worth even looking at, So those are things to consider, of course. And again, as I mentioned, location is a great spot. You're gonna be near the hospital, near both freeways, and the roads are very easy to get to. Rocky River, Lakewood, Westlake, Bay Village, or any neighboring city in town. You also have Westlake, which hosts Crocker Park, which is gonna be a pretty large outdoor mall that's going to drive a lot of traffic. And that's gonna be about 10-15 minutes away from Fairview Park, depending on where you are. And on the recreation side of things, we have the Gemini Center, which is going to be just, the community center. It's gonna have a pool, basketball courts. When I was there, there was like a little bit of a dodgeball room, which was really cool. It also has a gym, of course, and track. There might be extra things there too now at this point, but just to give you a comparison with Rocky River, their median prices are gonna be about $365,000. So, and that's right north neighboring Fairview Park. Very, very quick to get to. And then of course, a little bit further down is North Olmsted, and their median price is gonna be $260. So it's a little less, but it's still bordering Fairview Park. And then Lakewood, which isn't too far away, has kind of all of your nightlife. Lakewood's gonna be a 5-minute ride, depending on where you go in Lakewood, 5 to 15-minute ride, and that's gonna host everything. So that has a much better nightlife, and that's gonna be one of the cons that I would give Fairview Park. Fairview Park is very residential, as I was saying, suburban, and so you're gonna go to neighboring cities really to go out and to do some of those things. Lakewood offering probably the best if you're not gonna go downtown. Next on the list is going to be Cuyahoga Falls. So we're going pretty far away. We're going actually outside of Cuyahoga County, which hosts Cleveland, a lot of the neighborhoods and suburbs. And we're gonna go into Cuyahoga Falls because this is gonna be a great place for first-time home buyers. And the best thing I would do is to compare it to Lakewood, Ohio. Lakewood is going to be at a higher scale, more expensive, but Cuyahoga Falls almost has that same vibe and that same environment, especially with their newly redeveloped downtown space. Now, I do have a video on Cuyahoga Falls, so make sure to check that out because you'll see what I'm talking about and you'll see what kind of the homes there are. With a median price, so about $221,000, it's up about 5.2% from last year. It offers pretty nice first-time home buying power. Something I will say though, most of these homes are going to be a little older. You do have older homes in the area. You have detached garages, and a lot of them are going to be, one bathroom or 1.5. Now there are 3.2s. There are going to be, bigger homes, of course, and new developments and new homes in the area. But when we're talking about that first-time home buyer, what you'll see most of is going to be a 3.1 probably. So it's something to think about, maybe keeping the budget, being able to add that bath because it's something that can be doable. But it's just, that is the case being that they are older homes. Now, of course, you have a lot of street parking as well. Not busy streets by any means, but again, picture Lakewood, Ohio, which is going to be like a suburban area, but in a, almost in like a urban setting per se, that kind of feeling. It's a great place though. It's gonna be somewhere where you're gonna be able to get to nearby cities very easily. Again, very affordable. And you have a national park, which is great. So if you're into the outdoors and recreation aspect of things, you're right there with Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is going to offer quite a bit for you to do. So it's a great thing. And then you have Stowe, you have Hudson, both nearby, and you're near Akron, actually. That's going to be the closest city, which offers quite a bit as well if you're really looking for that outdoor nightlife experience. Now, Cuyahoga Falls does have a nice nightlife because they do have breweries and they have nice restaurants, especially with that downtown space being redeveloped. You're seeing a lot more of that stuff come into play. A lot of community events and a lot of fun, a lot of different things to do in that aspect as well. In terms of development, in 2022, the city approved multiple different projects that are bringing different, townhome buildings and different modern builds to the city. As I said, it's going to be older homes, but the city understands that and they are trying to develop and bring newer builds. Now, some of these might be a little bit further from the downtown space, but you're finding them scattered around town, which is great. Another thing is the Portage Crossing. It's going to be a big development that's coming. It's newer, it's got shopping, it's got restaurants, it's got gym, other businesses and retail space that's going to offer things to do, places to go, and amenities that are going to be quick and nearby so that you're not driving all around town in order to get groceries and things like that. Along with this, and this is a little, specific, but they also updated their zoning plan actually so that they can make more walkability in the city with diverse businesses and architectural styles for homes and things like that. So really the city's giving back to the people and helping be a little bit more flexible in the terms of the things that they can do so that you can really make this home your own. You can really do quite a bit, and they're really trying to encourage people to continue to build, to come, to have business and to open businesses and to continue to take good care of their homes and things like that. So it really is a great spot. And when I say all this isn't a bad spot either. It's a safe area, it's very comfortable, and it's great for first-time home buyers, for first-time, for new families, for retirees, and so on. So it's really not just going to be, a spot where you have to be careful or watch your shoulder or anything like that. I wouldn't suggest anything like that because I want to make sure that everyone is safe, of course, and happy with where they would go. Again, location is great. You have Route 8, which is going to be your main drag, probably going through Cuyahoga Falls, and you're going to be able to get to freeways very, very easily from there. Along with that, again, as close as you are to Akron, you have an easy commute if you work there. And of course, if you have to make it to downtown, it's not going to be too big of a hassle, but it is going to be about a 40-minute drive. So it's something to think about. Downtown Cleveland is. So it is something to think about. Now, in terms of schools, they are undergoing improvements as well. They're getting money to be able to just update their buildings and their classrooms and to continue to grow as well. So they are something to look forward to if you're having children or if you already have children and you're bringing them along, which I'd hope you would be. In terms of lifestyle, walkability, recreation, like I said, you have all of those things very easily accessible and it's not hard to get around. There's sidewalks, there's plenty to do, there's plenty of indoor, outdoor activities, and Cuyahoga Falls is going to be something where you have everything in the town. You don't have to go to a neighboring city unless you want to get groceries, to go and do things, to go to the movie theater, to enjoy the park, to just do whatever it may be that you want to do. You'll be able to do all that within the city, which is nice. You know that you don't have to go too far for those things. Now, if you wanted to, you have great cities nearby that offer quite a bit as well. So especially Hudson, people love their downtown space, and it's not going to be too far away from you in Cuyahoga Falls, and it's going to be something to do. So again, just to kind of summarize, Cuyahoga Falls, you have the affordability, the steady prices, but also the appreciation year over year. You have the downtown revitalization, which is bringing breweries, restaurants, stores, shopping, parking, and so on, things to do, which is really great in community events. You're gonna have obviously very top-notch outdoor recreation, and then you're in a convenient location, being able to get to Akron and Cleveland pretty easily, and as well as neighboring cities. Of course, as I mentioned, the community events, that's gonna be a huge plus. They constantly put them on. So it's not something where it's like you know everyone in the city, but it's something where they just love to have and incorporate as much as they can throughout the year with the holidays and stuff like that. Just doing it to continue to keep the city active and running, And of course, the future growth potential, as I mentioned, with new schools, with new projects, development projects, new zoning laws, all that type of stuff, really aiding in what's going to bring this into probably one of the top cities here soon. Honestly, again, I compare it to Lakewood, which if you want to look at the history of that, go for it. It's gonna be, I think, a mini Lakewood, Ohio, in my opinion. So some of those cons, though, real quick, are gonna be the older homes, or the commute to Cleveland if that's where you are located. It's gonna be a little longer. Some of the older infrastructure too. Some of the roads are still getting built up and doing a little bit more. And then of course, just some of the less diverse neighborhoods. It's not gonna necessarily be your traditional neighborhoods with cul-de-sacs and all that. It's gonna be more of a grid-like, which may or may not be something that people like. So just something to think about. All right, next up on our list is gonna be Brook Park. So this is gonna be a little bit closer to the city. It's gonna be more towards Cleveland proper, but Brook Park is gonna be a great place for a couple of reasons. We're gonna jump into that obviously right now, right? So first and foremost, the median house price in April of 2025 was $217,000. It did see a 3.4% increase from the previous year. But something that is going to make this very interesting is that Brook Park is, and you may already know, but going to probably be home to a really large new development coming soon in 2028, the Brown Stadium. And it's a big point of discussion here, whether they should move from downtown or not, but it's seeming so that it's going to happen. And this is going to bring not only a ton of business, it's gonna bring a lot of people, it's gonna bring a lot of money to the city, but at the same time, there's a chance that taxpayers are gonna have to pay portion of this to make this construction happen. It's going to be a pretty large deal, but it's also supposedly one of the larger privately funded deals supposedly in the industry. So I'll be curious to see what happens. However, with this in mind, what this really means and entails is the fact that prices for homes should increase. Appreciation should pretty much skyrocket a little bit in the area, not only because people are gonna want to be there, but it's gonna drive a lot of traffic, it's gonna drive a lot of people. There's a lot of demand for investors to be in the area because they want to purchase and to get these homes so that they can rent to people when when the games are coming, or when who knows who's in town for some event, because being that it's gonna be a dome, there's gonna be year-round events there, which is amazing. I mean, it's great. It's great in some aspects. Some people don't like it, but it's a big point of contention, of course, here, but it's something that, if it does happen, should benefit a homeowner minus the taxes, right? Because it's gonna develop the area. It's gonna continue to bring up the area. And not only that, but something else is Ford. So Brook Park, first and foremost, is very industry-based, industrial. And Ford was always there for a very long time. It's kind of been abandoned for a little bit, but there's a Ford redevelopment project that they're trying to bring it back. As well as that, is Amazon is taking up some of that space that Ford left behind for a distribution center. So there's gonna be a ton of jobs, but along with that, there's even more warehouse space and other investments that are coming to that area for businesses, which is going to bring a lot of jobs to the Brook Park area, which is great. I mean, that's gonna be awesome if that's something that you want. Now, of course, it doesn't fit the mold for everyone, then that's perfectly fine, but it's something to think about. And as a first-time home buyer right now, you're able to get into these prices, you're able to get into these homes pretty easily. You're gonna be able to get into them, and most of these homes are gonna be a little bit bungalow-like. It's very similar architecture. It's really like a mid-century suburb. That's kind of what it's filled with, the homes themselves, classic mid-centuries. You have some new construction. I wouldn't say it's the most, but it's also not like these homes were built. Along with this, you're going to be able to see some areas, with cul-de-sacs, or with dead-end streets that people like to see, but at the same time, you'll also be able to see kind of that grid-type neighborhood, similar to Lakewood or Cuyahoga Falls, which, again, is going to be kind of a nice thing depending on how you like your setup, how you like to drive around, and what it is that you're looking for. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is the recreation center. This is another development, another project that is happening right now. So The recreation center there in Brook Park is getting redeveloped. It's getting renovated. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff there that's coming. Now, location for Brook Park is amazing. And I say this because it's encircled by I-480 and I-71. So I-480 is going to be the freeway that takes you west and east, and then I-71 is going to take you north and south. So you're right there, really minutes away from both. And along with that, you're also right next to the turnpike. So you really, no matter where you're going, if you're getting onto the freeway, you have access to all of them in a very easy way. Now, I will say Brook Park can be a little busy at times, so it's something, there can be a lot of traffic coming through with the industrial aspect of things, and it's also very, very, very close to the airport. So you're gonna hear planes, but at the same time, you might have a lot of traffic coming through that area to get to the airport, to get to Hopkins, Cleveland International, and to get to either the departures, arrivals, or whatever it may be that people are doing. So that's maybe a little bit of a con that you have to think about. Next up, kind of the thought about schools. If you're looking to build a family, the schools are continuing to see improvements year after year, so they are good. There's one thing though that has happened and merged all high schoolers into one spot if you're going to the public school. And so the only downside about this is that some families, some parents are a little nervous just about the class size and how much attention their kids are really going to get. But from high school down, or obviously before high school, middle school, elementary, kids are getting a nice education. You have options, and it's continuing to improve, as well as improvements being made to the buildings and to just their amenities, which is great. So it's a nice thing to see and a nice thing to have it, because it just shows that things are going well in the city. Now, one thing to think about though is the nightlife. It's not going to really be there necessarily. It's going to be kind of a more calm of a city. So if you want to do something, you're gonna have to probably go downtown for the most part. And again, you're right there. Plus, you're right next to the freeway, so it's not going to be a difficult drive whatsoever. So it's pretty easy to get back and forth. So again, kind of wrapping up, or just not a little bit, summarizing some of those pros, like the benefits for the first-time home buyers. So it's going to be budget friendly. You're going to be able to find nice, solid 3-bed homes. One thing that I might say about these is that you might see that there's going to be only 1 or 1.5 baths. And so some people might be looking to increase that, and they might want more, and they might want bigger, and you can find that as well. But what's nice about this is that you're going to be able to get into an affordable home in Brook Park. It's going to be an inner ring of the suburbs. In Brook Park, you're going to see that $217,000, and then if you kind of go on the outskirts of Brook Park, you might see a little bit higher rise up, but you're going to get a little bit of a larger home and a little bit more space. So it's something to consider, of course, depending on your needs. Of course, the location, excellent spot, very easy access to everything, and you have everything there as well. Now, you might go into some neighboring cities like Middleburg Heights or Parma Heights to get some groceries or some things of that sort. You might consider some of the amenities that they have to offer over Berea. So I would say that that's just going to be one thing that I'll consider throwing in there. But along with that, you have the workforce that is coming to the area. So if that's something that you're already in, that you're interested in, if you're currently doing and might decide to move locations and you want to be closer to home. So these jobs, these warehouses, and the consideration of the new Brown Stadium brings investments. It brings stability to the city, which is going to be an awesome, awesome thing. The community feel is pretty nice too. It's generally pretty blue collar community, but people truly get around each other. And like the way I kind of put it is, like, if you have ever been to a Browns game, or the Browns kind of community per se, the fans, like, they just all for one another. I feel like it's like that in Brook Park. Everyone will support one another, local businesses, and people are in it for each other and want to see each other succeed, which is really cool, nice feature. And along with that, when it comes to the crime, it is considered to have low crime, which is going to be safe or nice for children, for your family, for just yourself. But some of the drawbacks that you might consider is going to be the noise. As I said, you're close to the airport, so sure, you're going to have planes flying over, and you're going to have some of the cars going through, and with an industrial kind of city, you're going to have some noise coming with it, and construction that's happening. That noise is there. But along with that environment, you don't have that nightlife. So maybe you want a bigger nightlife, then maybe it's not for you. Brook Park may not be the best fit, unless you're open to driving. I mean, if you're fine Ubering or going other places, then great. Then you don't have to worry about that. But along with that, you do have some older and smaller homes. So I know you can go onto the outskirts a little bit, but when you're in inner circle of the suburb, the homes are going to be a little bit smaller. They're a little bit they're not outdated by any means. People take care of them, and they're there. They may need some cosmetic upgrades and things like that. So it's a pretty good handyman area if you're into those type of things. But they are a little bit older with a little bit of a smaller footprint per se. As I was mentioning, you're gonna see some 3.1s, maybe 3.1.5. But if you're looking for that 3.2, you may need to add it, or maybe someone that's already done that has already added it. You may need to pay for that, or you may do it yourself, depending on what location you want to be in and how that home fits your needs. Maybe it's like everything is great, but you need an extra bath, and it's like, all right, well, we'll add that down the line. So something to consider. And then, of course, lack of a walkable downtown. So there's really no downtown Brook Park per se. It's not going to be like your Cuyahoga Falls or your Lakewood or Rocky River per se. Those all have kind of some nice downtown spaces that you can go drive to and walk, or if you're able to get there on foot or bike there, they're pretty nice and comfortable just to hang out and walk around. And then, of course, as I was saying, potential tax increase considering the Browns Stadium, because you need to know about that, and it needs to be something that's, hey, can we do this? If we do buy here, do we mind? Or is that a big no-no for us? So something to think about, something to consider. All right, so next up on our list is going to be Parma. So Parma is going to be actually one of Cleveland's largest suburbs. It's known for its affordability and just its middle-class housing market, which is great. The median average home price as of April of 2025 is going to be $215,000, and this is going to be a 9.1% increase from previous year. So you're seeing these homes appreciate. There are a lot of people going into Parma, fixing them up, kind of doing their fix and flips, or they're living there and they're taking a little bit more care for their homes and they're really getting them ready to sell. And you're seeing that a lot of people are just doing the updates and the upgrades that need to happen to get these houses ready to sell. And they are selling for the price. People are doing a great job with it because these homes can be a little bit older in some areas. And so people need to make those updates, or they want to make those updates while they're living there, and they do so before selling. So it's just something to think about. Again, it's going to be having some of those older homes, but Parma is going to be one of the best spots when it comes to affordability, and it's also going to be a great spot when it comes to location, when it comes to amenities and what it has to offer, and just the shopping, the stores, and everything that's really truly around. There's going to be a lot there. And then there's also some great improvements coming here down the line. It's known for its 1950s bungalows and ranch style homes, which some people truly do enjoy. Some people may not want that at all, but it's something that, there are going to be other types and other architectural homes there that you can choose from. But I'm just giving you a glimpse into what you're going to experience and what you're going to see. That's probably what you should expect from the Parma area. So when it comes to Parma's planning and development, so Parma's truly pretty much really built out already. So what you're seeing a lot of is approved improvements, for like shopping and renovations to be done and improved upon. For example, you have the Parma Town Center area that's going to be renovated, and along with that, this area includes the shops Parma. And the idea with all this and what they're doing with it is just trying to make the downtown district more walkable and something that people can go to. They're trying to create that center, that downtown feel. So they're really trying to bring that and incorporate that and kind of give this city a true downtown aspect that people can go and hang out at and shop at and maybe eat at and so on. So it's something to think about. It's nice to think about and nice to see that the city is putting that effort into there to really create that downtown space, because that is it's truly a draw for many places. I mean, people love to be able to go down into their little downtown space and enjoy a night out to drink and to grab some food, or just to go shopping, whatever it is, or just for a place to have community events, whether that's concerts or fireworks or something else that the city does to bring people together and to have that. So we're seeing that redevelopment happening, and it's transforming an old mall, essentially. It's an old enclosed mall into more of a vibrant open air shopping center, shopping plaza. So you're seeing a lot of different things come into that area, things that are needed. Now, of course, along with that, Parma is truly kind of centered around improving their infrastructure, their roads. They're really making sure that they're getting these potholes and taking care of their roads, making sure that they're clean, they're smooth. Along with some of these developments, you have healthcare coming, so you have some hospitals and health aspects, which is great to see that coming to the area. You have some breweries opening, you have other restaurants that are opening, and other businesses that are coming. So you do see this revitalization, and you see a lot of people and businesses coming in, which is great. And then, of course, Metro Parks, it's nearby. You're gonna get your green spaces, and you're gonna be able to get out and about and just go and exercise within Parma without having to go too far or somewhere special to do those things. And lastly, I know Ryan Homes is also building a new development, so they're building townhomes in the area. So earlier we spoke how it is a little bit of an older, it's built out older homes, stuff like that. Well, Ryan Homes is, and the city knows that it needs to bring in some of those newer modern homes, and they're working on it, with Ryan Homes being kind of the first step in doing so. And that's going to be a great thing. Now these, if you're a first-time home buyer, they have some nice incentives, but these are going to start in like the 300s, and it's going to be something that you can consider if you're looking for some new construction, but in an area where it's not going to break the bank. This is an option for you. But it's great to see all this stuff coming to Parma and seeing the money that's coming and being put into the area, because you know that it's being cared for. You know that they want to continue to build it up, which is something that you want to see, right? I mean, you want to see that continued effort, whether it's something little or something huge. It's something that you want to see the city putting that time and effort into doing. Now, location-wise, you are going to be bordering kind of a 480, which is going to be a great spot. But now if you wanted to take 90, you're going to be a little bit further away, and you're about 10 or 12 miles away from the city itself of Cleveland. That's one thing, one negative, I would say, but it has a lot of amenities surrounding it, so you don't really need to be going too far to get to a lot of these places, right? And again, if you want to go downtown, you have this stuff in 15, 20-minute ride. Now, you do have RTA that comes through Parma pretty often, so you have a nice route there, and you have that public transportation, which is going to be something that's easy to get to through Parma, which again, that's a huge pro if that's something that you would like to do rather than taking a car, because for most part, anything in Cleveland and around is going to be car dependent. Now, when it comes to the schools, this is going to be maybe a little bit of a con per se. They are going through some restructuring. They're trying to improve this, but for the most part, when it comes to report cards, they're performing about the state average. So just something to think about. Again, if it's, if you want to build your family there, maybe their schools may not be the best fit. Maybe they, it can be. It's up to you guys. Of course, I always advise you to do your research, because it's totally up to you guys what you choose to do. But I just want to give you that heads up if that is one of the big needs on the list. There is a plan to open 2 new high schools in the future, but right now there's a lot of talks and some consolidation that's caused some convergence of schools and some merging. So it's still something that needs to happen. It's still something that's in the works for them to improve upon. But in summary, Parma's public schools are going to be in a transitional phase, is the best way to put it. So take that how you will, but I do advise to do your own research, of course. So Parma is just going to be that, old world charm with a touch of just comfort and suburban lifestyle. Now, again, we're going to talk about some of the cons and some of these things, but when it comes to your daily lifestyle, Parma has a decent amount to offer. They do have things to do, but sometimes you do need to go and access some other parks if you need more space, or if you need like baseball fields and stuff like that. They do have a bunch of different neighborhood parks and playgrounds, so there's no worry there, but sometimes it can be a little busy. So it's something that you're gonna have to get a feel for and to figure out if it works for you, or if you want something a little bit more quiet. So again, pulling all that tough stuff together, what you're gonna see in Parma is affordability. You're gonna see a central location where you're pretty close to downtown. It does have a variety of housing, as we were talking about. Those bungalows and those ranches are a big component of it all, but there's gonna be a lot of different styles throughout Parma that's going to offer you quite a bit to choose from. Now, when it comes to land, you're not gonna necessarily find that a whole lot in Parma. You're gonna be pretty locked into what's there, and not many homes are on big plots. So that's also something to think about. The community amenities, as I was saying, it's gonna have a lot of amenities, which is nice, with those renovated shopping centers, with the parks, including a metro park, as well as pools, sports, leagues, and actually a big library that you can go and access, which is cool. But again, some of these things can get a little busy, so it's something that you could consider when it comes to, hey, how do we like this, or do we need something a little bit more quiet? Of course, the stable neighborhoods, you've seen the appreciation. You're seeing that the city is stable, very similar to many of these that are on the list, pretty much all of them actually on the list, because that's what makes it kind of a nice spot to move to. But you're gonna see a lot of block parties, garage sales, and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a nice little community-filled area. It's not something where you're gonna know everyone. So it's not similar to Fairview Park, where a lot of people do know each other. So you're not gonna get that nosiness, in my opinion. So Parma is something that I include does have a pretty nice cultural character. You're gonna see a lot of Polish and Ukrainian aspects to it, which is fun. I mean, it gives it some character, but it's something that you'll see from pierogies to festive parades. You'll experience this throughout Parma, and it just adds some unique charm and pride that a lot of people take a liking to. And of course, lower taxes in the city. I mean, I would say that's kind of a given, but of course I wanted to include that there. Now, pulling in some of those drawbacks for Parma is going to be, first and foremost, just the fact that the public schools are in that transitional phase. I mean, that's not something that we really want to see too much of, depending if you have children or not. Along with that is the older housing, the older homes. So some of these are going to be updated. Some of them might need a little bit of work. So if you're someone that likes to do work and likes to fix up homes, you could probably find a great deal and do it yourself. But if you're looking for a turnkey home, you'll have those and you'll find them in Parma. But you have to remember that these are older homes, so someone had done the work at some point, and so you're just gonna have to enjoy that and make sure that it's the craftsmanship and the quality that you're looking for. There is limited walkability. It is a little bit of a busier area, I will say that. So Parma isn't going to have that ease of just leaving your house and walking to a restaurant or to a business. So that's an unfortunate thing, but the other aspect of that obviously would be included is that traffic on the main roads. It does get busy, especially around the freeways, around the park and the mall. So it can take times. It's not like the roads are small, they're big, but it's just a lot of traffic and a lot of people going in the same place, in the same direction, at the same time, with multiple lights that you have to get past to get through. And then of course the lack of nightlife. Many of these places aren't going to have a huge nightlife environment, but you're close and nearby places that do, especially the city. But if you're a younger buyer who's craving that nightlife and needs it, then you might find Parma's offerings to be pretty limited. But you need to know that, and you have that information, and to make sure that you're ready for it. Alrighty, last on our list is going to be Old Brooklyn. So this is an interesting one. This is going to be the closest to Cleveland. It's actually a Cleveland neighborhood, and it's a large neighborhood on Cleveland's southwest side, and it's really emerged as a popular spot. Many people are just flocking there. A lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of investors, and then of course some of the older generation, just because of its affordability, but it's also a pretty nice suburban feel. So here, the median house price as of April of 2025 is going to be $165,000. It's about 6.4% increase from last year. So it's a nice barrier to entry. It's pretty low, and it's gonna be, compared to all the others, the cheapest on the list, right? But it's a spot where it does have older homes, and it does usually need a handyman to fix some of the stuff. You need to be okay with some of this work that needs to be done, and you need to be okay with some of the fact that older home has some problems. It's not something that's cause for concern, but we need to make sure we get the right inspection. We need to get the disclosures and understand what's going on and to check it out. Lakewood has century homes that are still getting bought up for $300,000, $600,000, $800,000. And it's because of the demand, because of the spot. You're gonna find similar homes in Old Brooklyn for a lot less, but you're also going to just need to know that you're a little closer to the city. So there is a trade-off, but it's a great first-time home buying location, especially for that price. So it's a really, really great place to experience and to see and to at least drive through and to know or to figure out if it's good for you. So again, most are older, 1910s to really the 1960s, most to the 1920s and 1940s. You're gonna see bungalows, you're gonna see Cape Cods, you're gonna see, not too many ranches, but some, and you're gonna see a lot of colonials. You're gonna see a lot of tree-lined streets. So that's just to give you the vibe, the idea of what you're gonna find when you go through Old Brooklyn. It's going to be a place that is pretty comforting. It's gonna be nice and quaint, and a lot of stuff that's coming there, and a lot of investors. I will definitely say that, and when you see that, you know that it's an area that's coming. It's a place that people are trying to get to before those prices get too competitive or get too high. So you're really seeing quite the revitalization of Old Brooklyn, especially from the locals and local development companies. And what you're seeing is a $32 million approved plan to bring mixed-use development to some of the underutilized blocks. This is going to bring breweries, restaurants. It's slated to be about 80 apartments and just retail shops and things to do. It's going to be new. It's going to be obviously newly developed, which is amazing. When you see new developments and new construction come to the area, that's always a plus. Furthermore, a lot of the streets have been upgraded. The streetscape per se. So you're seeing a lot of new businesses and small businesses opening up in the recent years. A lot of coffee shops, a lot of different like breweries, some niche retailers, things that you see these locals are buying into the area and coming there with their businesses, which is great to see as well. Along with housing initiatives, so some vacant lots or vacant lands are starting to see new construction being built on them. So the OBCDC, the Old Brooklyn Community Development Corporation is what that stands for, is taking these lots, and they're making this initiative basically to take these vacant homes or these lots and to put something there to get actual property, livable properties there, so people can purchase them, people can live there, and they can fill the spaces and fill the communities once again. Now, of course, there's a lot of rehabs as well going on from other investors and outside of the city and other people. And there's also a few clusters of new townhomes and homes that are being built, which is also awesome to see. So you're seeing them taking advantage of Cleveland's 15-year tax abatement on the new construction. So for the new owners, they don't have to pay any property tax on the improvements for 15 years, which is a huge perk. But with all this information, you can see why people are moving there, but you can also see why it's going to grow, because the city's making it happen, right? They're really incentivizing this, and people have no choice to say, yeah, how can I not take this deal? But it's really starting to diversify the housing portfolio, which is really nice to see. And it's something that's going to bring a lot of improvements to the area. So let's talk a little bit about the recreation, the nature. So you have a lot of parks and trails. So in 2021, the neighborhood celebrated the opening of Brook Park, which is going to be a new 25-acre green space. And it was created on a former landfill, I will say that, but it features trails that link to the Metro Park Zoo and expands a lot of the recreation space. And the Metro Park Zoo is also there. So you have easy access to that for the children or just for your own self if you want to go experience that. And also there's Treadway Creek Trail, which now is going to be a towpath that connects Old Brooklyn with Cuyahoga Valley, as well as the Metro Parks. So again, if you're a big biker, maybe if you're a walker, maybe you want to rollerblade, whatever it is, you're going to have the ability to kind of take those trails and to really venture out and to see a lot of things, which is really, really cool. And of course, again, the Old Brooklyn Community Development Corporation has also taken an old fireplace building and they're transforming it into kind of a community hub, which is going to just offer, again, more coffee shops, more places, offices, event space, and something where a lot of people can go and visit and be a part of, which again, it's great to see the fact that this is like a grassroots revitalization and the locals are really taking it upon themselves to make this what it once was and turn it back to that again. Again, the location of this is going to be an amazing spot because it is truly a Cleveland suburb. So it is right there. It's on the southwest side of the city of Cleveland. It's going to be not too far off downtown proper, right? If you needed to go down and work there. But along with that, it still feels suburban. So you're not dealing with what you might think of as true city life or urban lifestyle or city lifestyle. And along with that, it's also very close to freeways. So you're going to be able to get on and off and go elsewhere very, very quickly. You're not going to have to be, driving a ton of back roads to get to the freeway before then getting to where you want to go. It's pretty central access to all the freeways. So I-480 runs along the south edge of Old Brooklyn, which allows you to kind of zip east and west across town. And then it's also just minutes to I-77 and I-71. If you work in Independence or if you were to go into actual Brooklyn or the airport, they're all very, very close, 10 minutes away. So the accessibility of this is going to be one of its strong suits. So again, being in Cleveland, you actually get a lot of benefits of living in the Cleveland proper. You're not going to be dealing with some of the non-resident or taxes. You're also going to get first dibs on a lot of things and have chances for scholarships if you do have children or if you are in school, which is really great. So it's really going to be nice central access, a lot of perks, and quick to quite a bit of things. It does have some RTA spots and accessibility as well, but it's not going to be as strong as maybe Parma or some other spots, unfortunately. So that's also something to note. Now, the schools and education, this is going to be a tough one. I will say, and I can tell you right now that they aren't the best public schools. They are a little bit below average, but they are improving. They're seeing improvements year after year, but it's still a little bit below the state averages. So something to do a little bit more research on, something that you're going to have to check out, greatschools.org or niche.com. I advise you to do your own research there, but it's something that you need to know in case the public schools are going to be something that's important on the list. When it comes to your lifestyle and walkability and the recreation, we already spoke a lot about what's there with parks and towpaths and to be able to take care of. When it comes to walking, it's moderate. There's some areas where you can walk downtown to their little downtown space, or there's some areas that you could walk down to some of the shops. But of course, just like everywhere else, it's going to require a car. It's really car centric, all of Cleveland really. So that's just something to think about, but you can walk in some of the areas in Old Brooklyn, which is nice to see, which is a nice feature. Again, the recreation, so there are green spaces, which is a great thing to have. Go get some exercise, get a tan, whatever it is. But also they have the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, so that's a nice amenity to be able to just go and access, and to take the kids to, or to access some public walking trails, or just picnic areas, whatever that may be. So the neighborhood is going to be pretty tight knit. The community feel is there. A lot of people on front porches talking and just getting out and about and just exploring and experiencing what the area has to have. The shopping and dining is continuing to improve as well. As we said, all these businesses are coming there, and you're seeing a lot more move into the area, which again is just going to add to the demand and appreciation of these homes as the time goes on. Now, when it comes to the crime rates, it's going to be one of Cleveland's safest neighborhoods, and we're talking about Cleveland proper, right? So it's a safe and nice community. It's really more of a suburban feel than urban. It's really not like, you don't think that you're in the city, but you have the luxury and you have the benefits of being right there to be able to access that very easily. You're gonna see a lot of people walking dogs, kids playing, kids biking. And so it's gonna be something where you're not going to be fearful, you're not worried about them, you're not, you have a lot of people out and about enjoying the day and experiencing what the city has to offer. So those key pros for the area is going to be that low entry of cost. As we said, it's the lowest on our list. You have that close proximity to everything, but you have that suburban feel with the urban perks, as well as the community being tight-knit and continuing to improve, especially with the fact that they're taking it upon themselves to build this back up to what it once was. You have a lot of that outdoor recreation. You have some tax and education incentives, as we spoke about. And of course, you have a culture and diversity, which is really, really cool. You have a lot of cultural mix, and you have a lot of really interesting features that come here and you get to experience. But now some of the drawbacks of Old Brooklyn might include some of the public schools, as we said, a little bit below average. But you're gonna also see some of the older homes that are gonna be in need of some repairs, some do-it-yourself, or you're gonna see some of the less polished suburbs per se. It's gonna be still an inner city area, but it's still a suburban feel. You're gonna have these tree-lined streets, but you're going to also have street parking and things like that. So that's just really what I'm getting at. You don't necessarily have your cul-de-sacs and your dead ends as you might see in some other areas. And just for the last thing, again, limited nightlife, but is it really a con because you're right next to the downtown space? So you'd be able to drive to Cleveland proper and experience whatever that nightlife experience is that you want to see. And sorry for my voice, I don't know where it's going, but apparently it's not with me. But yeah, so those are really gonna be the key drawbacks for Old Brooklyn. So to wrap it all up, we have spoken about the 5 communities that I would suggest and that are going to be the best 5 for first-time home buyers, each of them having their own drawbacks, each of them having their own pros. But I want to know from you, what do you think is the best fit for yourself? What do you like the best? If you're from the areas and there's something that I didn't include, please put it in the comments below so that we can share with everyone else, so that they are as informed as possible as well, so that they can make the proper decision. And of course, let me know, what do you want to know about next? Is there anything I missed? And please feel free to share this video with anyone that you think might help, and reach out to me. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Just remember, all these offer the affordability, the amenities, and some small drawbacks, but as a first-time home buyer, there's gonna be a lot of pros that you're gonna get out of these areas. But if you wanna dive deeper into it, just let me know and I'll be happy to help you. All right, on to the next video. Thank you.